All right, everybody. Hopefully, this is where everybody's going to be coming here. This is going to be our first live with the how to participate in a live auction. See, we got some folks coming. I want to welcome everybody to the Equip Link. My name is jmanka. I'm one of the partners at the Equip Link Auction Group. And we'll go over some of the topics that we're going to be talking about tonight. And I also want everyone to feel free to ask questions, to chime in. I believe we can write comments on the board here. So anything that I can do to be helpful with y'all, I want you to please listen. So let's see. Action needed. Says something about the frame. I think we should be fine. Thank you for the shares. So what we'll do is, for those of you that don't make it tonight, that we're scheduled to be here at 6, we'll make sure this thing keeps going. And I'm trying to see if I can, let's change the stream a little bit here, make it maybe a little bit better for everyone. No, I can't do that. Let's see. Trying to figure out how to do this for y'all so we get the best possible viewing program. Well, we're not going through all this tonight. So we're just going to stay here and see what happens. We're going to be here for a solid hour. If we get a bunch of folks in here, we'll stay longer. If we don't get anybody in here, we won't stay as long. But we're going to try our best to make this an enjoyable and fun-filled evening for everybody to listen in on. So I guess the first thing we're going to talk about is an auction overview. What is an auction? So an auction is when buyers and sellers get together to do business. And auctions can be on anything. Auction can be on anything from a bottle of water to iPads to cuckoo clocks to cars and obviously to big trucks and heavy equipment like we do here at Equip Link Auction Group. How does it work? How does an auction work? It's one of the questions that I get asked very, very frequently because we do sell some retail units as well as through the auction. So when I'm selling somebody a truck or I'm talking to somebody about a truck and I tell them I own an auction company, they one of the most common questions is, how does an auction work? Well, what happens is an auction company will go out and they'll find assets. There's a couple of different ways that we can acquire assets. One is through consignment. So your neighbor down the street, and I'm just going to use this as in general, your neighbor down the street has passed away. All right. And they've got 4 siblings and they got a house full of furniture and they have to sell the house, they have to sell the furniture, they're going to split everything up 4 ways. There's a couple different ways for them to do that. One of the most convenient ways, and one of the best ways, truthfully, is an auction. And what the auction does is it takes specific products and it puts it out to the general public, or in some cases, dealers, all right, for consumption, for people to bid on. So what happens is, and let's just take a bottle of water. That's easy, okay? So right now, you can go to any store anywhere and buy a bottle of water. It doesn't have to be special water. It's just bottled water. But in times when sometimes things get tight, or let's go back to the people's house that the gentleman passed away and they got to auctioneer his assets off. There may be a case of water there. That case of water has some value. And the way that value is determined is when the auctioneer starts the bidding, bidders bid on something, the case of water. When the final bid is reached, that item is sold. And that's how an auction works. So, in a nutshell, an auction is putting buyers and sellers together where the buyers are looking to buy specific items and the sellers are looking to sell specific items. And they put them together. The auctioneer is basically the house, and we, shucks, I just had the word in my head. We facilitate the transaction. And there's a bunch of different ways it can be done. Traditionally, in the way that I learned back 30 years ago in the used car business, was I used to go to what we call a brick and mortar auction. And a brick and mortar auction is where you go to buy the goods. You're allowed to inspect the goods. Sometimes you can drive the goods. Sometimes you can touch the goods. There's all different things that you can do at a brick and mortar sale. Brick and mortar means there's a building that you go to buy. That's what we call a brick and mortar auction. Now, traditionally, brick and mortar auctions was the way that you had to do it, because back when auctions first started, you didn't even have microphones and stuff. You had to get close to the auctioneer. You had to be right in on the action. You might have heard about somebody going to the auction, accidentally sneezing, achoo, or they wave to their friend, and all of a sudden they come home with a brand new Lincoln, right? Because you can't raise your hand. So that's a brick and mortar sale where you're actually there with the products. There's a couple other kind of auctions. For example, online auctions. And that's what we do. An online auction is an auction where everything takes place at no central location. You may be in Oregon, you may be in Texas, you may be in Maine, Vermont, Canada, Mexico. We've had bidders as far away as Japan. So an auction can take place online with no problem at all. There's hundreds of different auction companies. We're a new one. We've been in business for a year. We've probably sold 1,200 trucks, and we do the best job that we possibly can, and we're improving every day. There's giant auctions that are online where you can buy stuff anywhere from a tube of toothpaste to a brand new Ferrari. Okay? We work with 3 different companies. We work with Equipment Facts, we work with Proxy Bid, and we work with Nextlot. And those are the 3 companies that we choose to put our assets on. Now, are they our assets? We'll get to that in just a few minutes. Let's talk a little bit more about the different types of auctions. So we talked about brick and mortar, and then we shared a little bit about online. Online is everything from a computer, okay? Then you have a combination of a location auction, right? So let's talk about that for a second. So Mr. and Mrs. Jones that passed away 3 years ago or 2 years ago, and their kids are fighting over the estate, and they got to sell everything in the house. So there's 2 ways to do that an auction house can do it. One is they can go into the house, strip the whole house of everything, which requires a lot of work, take it to their brick and mortar location, invite the public in. The public comes, they sit on the furniture, they lay down on the mattresses, they plug in the refrigerator to see if the refrigerator gets cold. They do all that good stuff. All right. So they bring it from the house to the brick and mortar. The other way they can do it is on location. Okay. And most auction companies have the ability to do that. They can go to your location if you have enough assets. For example, a farm. Anyway, let's go back to the house we have to sell. So there's a house full of goods that we have to sell. We're going to do that on location. So you would actually be invited to that location. There'll be a live auctioneer there. There'll be a clerk there. There'll be people taking information. There'll be people collecting payments, just like a brick and mortar, but at a specific location. All right. So now we got specific location. We've got brick and mortar, and we got online. All right. Some of the other things, or one of the other type auctions that's been created through this, has been what's called online and location, or online and brick and mortar. Okay. There's a lot of companies that do both. Okay. There's a lot of companies that do both. There's some auctions in the state of Georgia. There's some auctions in Florida. You can actually go to where, and this happened, I guess, in the early 2000s. It started really with the car industry. used car managers that normally would have to leave the desk or to leave their office and drive to a spot. I'll give you an example. Myself, when I was with Savannah Toyota, I used to have to leave Savannah Toyota and go to Statesville, North Carolina to buy new Toyotas or used Toyotas. And that's about a 3.5 hour drive. I miss work, the whole kit kat caboodle. It's a long ride. You're tired. You get there, you buy everything. You got to go back. By the time you get back, you got to still work, and it's a lot. It's a lot of headache. So the cars industry, Manheim, figured out, let's put everything online as well. So now, as a used car manager, you have still the brick and mortar location with cars going through the lanes, like people would think about a regular auction, right? But you added the online presence. So the online opened up the avenue to sell products to a much more vast audience, if that makes sense. So instead of having 400 car dealers in the lane in Statesville, right? Now you had 10,000 used car managers online trying to buy stuff through the auction. Does that make sense? So now you got people all over the country trying to buy. You got people at the location trying to buy. And the seller really benefits from that. So whoever's selling, right, their products, they now have opened up their wares to everybody on the internet. All right. So now let's take it. Customers started really relying. Well, let's go back to eBay. Okay. eBay is an online auction. All right. eBay came into fruition, I don't know, probably the early 2000s, somewhere around there, I would think. I don't know for sure. But people became big eBay sellers. And that included all your online stuff. And now this is another type of auction. eBay is a timed auction. And we've done those too from time to time. Okay. Most auction companies will have a few timed auctions here and there. There's different ways that auction companies can have their I'm sorry, the word I'm looking for is format. All right. The auction company can have their format however they choose. You can do it on a timed auction. You can do it on just a live auction, right? You could do it on a timed and live, which is kind of what we do. And then we have a pre-bid and proxy bid auction. So those, I wanted to share with you guys some of the different auctions. I know that some of you probably already knew about all this. Maybe some of you don't. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'm just about always available. My phone number is 912-695-9406. So that's kind of what I wanted to overview the auction. We are an online auction. Okay. So how do you participate? Right. So a lot of my customers, folks that have bought cars before, or trucks and heavy equipment before, in fact, people that I talked to this week said, Jim, I'd love to buy a truck through an auction, but I don't have a license. And I hear that all the time. And that's okay. Okay. We have the license. We have the business. Our home office is in Roanoke, Alabama. So we have all that stuff. You don't have to have a license. How about that? Right? A lot of people don't know that. You don't have to have a license to work with us. All right. Very, very simple registration process. Come on to our website, www.equiplinkauctions.com. Click on the green banner and then simply ask to join our auction. And when you ask to join our auction, it's going to ask you a request to bid. You're going to click on request to bid. It's going to lead you through a few questions. You're going to have to put a credit card in. Then we're going to charge your credit card $1. And all we do that for, because we're not going to get rich charging people $1, is to make sure that you're a real person. Okay? You don't have to have a license. We like to know that you have a bank account or a credit card so that you have ability to pay. Because this isn't fun and games. This is work. Okay? If you bid on something, you have. It sounds crazy, but you actually have to pay for it. So we want to make sure that you're a real person. Plus, by making sure you're a real person and getting just a little bit, so we have your name, your phone number, your credit card information, we know that you're a real person. And you'll get a phone call from us. Myself or Tyler or Maria or Jason or Amy will call you and we'll say, hey guys, want to welcome you to QuipLink Auction Group. Want to go through all the rules and regulations. This is how we do. Make sure you understand the fees and blah, 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 blah. Can we answer any questions for you? So that's how you get registered. Go to www.equiplink.auctions.com, click on the green banner, and then click on the sale that you want to get into and request to bid. Super easy. Super easy. If you don't have a bank card or a credit card, it won't work. Very, very seldom do we have that problem because most of the folks that are going to try and buy something have a bank account at some point. And we wire in money. So what happens is if you win your item, you're gonna wire in the funds. So that's how you participate. How to buy. Your requirements and your best practices. So we require you to sign up with the auction. Whether it be through proxy bid, whether it be through equipment facts, if you want to save a little bit of money, your next lot or through our website, through QuipLink Auctions, is 11%, whereas the other platforms are 12 and 12.5%. So to save some money, you would register with us. So that's the requirement. You have to be registered. Don't have to be a dealer. Have to be registered, and we have to have verified your email and your phone number. So if you register on Monday for the auction and we call you Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then you come back in on Tuesday and you never have answered the telephone, you're probably not going to be able to get in. So you've got to make sure you make live human being contact with someone so that we can help you or guide you or share any information that you need to know about for the particular auction. Best practices for buying. Call in advance. Ask questions about the inventory. Ask questions about the assets. Okay. A lot of QuipLink Auction Group's assets are bank repossessions. So we know very little about these. So what happens is someone loses a driver, let's say, and that driver took great care of the truck. He really did, but he quit. And the dispatcher or the company, their job is not in selling trucks. That's not what they do. So they call us. And the company sells truck. Or the driver quits, and now the people can't afford to pay the note on the truck. So the truck goes back. All right. So the truck goes back. It goes to a yard. Now that yard may be in Texas. It may be, well, let's go through Texas. It could be in Houston. It could be in El Paso. It could be in Fort Worth. It could be in Dallas. It could be in Van Alstyne. It could be just about anywhere in the great state of Texas. It might be in California. It might be in Oregon. Could be in Maine. Could be in Vermont. We have yards, not in all 50 states, but we can facilitate anything anywhere. Idaho seems to take us a little while. But we'll generally find someone there that can do an inspection for us, even in Idaho. And they just get a very brief inspection. Does the unit run? Does it drive? Will it start? You know, is there a hole in the block? You know, guess what? If it's in January and the truck is located in Idaho, it's kind of hard to check the AC, right? Or if it's in July and it's in Orlando, kind of you're not going to check the heat. So you got to understand that a lot of these units that we're selling are repos. Everything that we sell is as is. Okay? When you buy something from any auction, anywhere, anytime, any place, it is sold under the premise that it's as is. Okay? Now, if we say that it runs and drives, it will run and drive. If it doesn't, that's different. But all it has to do is start and run. You'll see some of them will just say truck starts. And that's just what it means. The truck starts. Doesn't mean it runs. So on how to buy, in your best practice, do your research first. Okay? Call myself, call Jason, call Jimmy. All of our numbers are plastered all over everything. And check with us about our inventory. Whatever we know about it, we're going to be more than happy to share it with you. Okay? There's also a couple things you can do to protect yourself. You can call NIS, National Inspection Company, and pay $249 to get an inspection. You can call AAA, or not AAA, TA Truck Travel and Truck Centers. They'll go do an inspection for you. A month, and there's just not enough man hours and time to get it all done the way you would if you were paying somebody $400. So take advantage of that. Inspect, 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 because everything is 100% on you. You are more than welcome to do this. Sell with us. How would you want to sell with us? So, what are some of the advantages? It says that my live stream is having some issues, but it doesn't tell me how to resolve it. So I haven't had any comments, so I don't know if factually anybody is. Hold on one second. Not sure if I can do that. Uh-oh. Well, we'll just go back to what we were doing. See how that works. Welcome. Glad you're here. Thanks for joining us. We are at the sell with us requirements. Our sell with us requirements. As you may or may not know, the way that we sell, so we were talking about where our assets come from. All right, our assets come from banks and they come from consigners. And then we purchase units as well to put in the auction. So, how would you sell with us? Well, I'm glad you asked that question. I got a couple of guys that buy specifically to sell in our auction. They're very, very successful. My friend Adolfo Melendez in El Paso, Texas, he sells a good bit with us. Mike Nazarko in Palestine, Texas, probably sold $500,000 worth of inventory with us this year. My good friend James Griffin has sold $500,000 worth of inventory with us this year with his construction company. And what is the advantage of selling with EquipLink? So to me, the biggest advantage is this. We're not a giant, huge auction. However, we do have 8,700 contacts. We've had probably 7,500 people come through our auctions this year. That's huge for a first year company as far as auctions go. Secondly, right, because we are a small auction, we're able to give you a whole lot better attention. And whether you're selling one truck or 50 trucks, right, to have the red carpet laid out for you like only EquipLink auction can is a big deal. It makes a big difference. So the third and most exciting thing to me is, truthfully, you keep your asset. All right. You keep your asset until it's paid for or until the customer picks it up. So let's say that you have a driver that quits tomorrow and you try for 2 weeks to fill in, let's say 2 months, to fill that seat. You try and put a butt in that seat because that truck will make you money. Well, you're still paying $3,000 a month insurance on that truck, or $500 a month, or however much you're paying on that truck. Call us, call myself, call Jason, call Tyler, call Jimmy. Say, hey, I got a 2008 Freightliner Cascadia. I want to put it in your auction. We talk about how much it's worth, right? You send us a copy of the front and back of the title. You'll fill out a questionnaire about your truck. You can do it one of two ways. We can send somebody out to do the inspection. It's $249, okay? Or you can do your own inspection, and it's just a $99 listing fee, because it takes about 3 hours to list an asset correctly. So you get to keep your asset, though. That's the best part. You get to keep your inventory where it is. Another thing that a lot of our customers really like is you get to set the reserve. If you take it to a non-reserved auction, and it's not online, or let's say it is online, and you have no reserve, and you have a $65,000 bulldozer that you're wanting to sell, and that bulldozer is really worth $65,000. But right as that bulldozer comes in, the picture gets fuzzy, right? The internet has a glitch. There's a little earthquake somewhere, and so everybody leaves, right? Everybody leaves, and nobody's listening anymore to the auctioneer. And the auctioneer saying 49, now 49,000 before you can't get a bid. Well, what do I do? 30,000 now, 32.5, 35, 35. I got 32.5, 35. Boom, sold 32,500. All of a sudden, the picture comes back, and you're stuck selling your asset for 30. Away to a lucky winner. So, does that happen often? No, but it does happen. With a reserved auction, okay? With a reserved auction, when you're selling something, you're not in any danger of having a catastrophic loss. Does that make sense? I'll be happy to explain more of that to you, but the majority of what we do is reserved, and yet we still sell 85, 90%. Let me share with you how we do that. And it's quite honest. It's quite easy, because we don't want our customers to come in and bid the right money on something and not get it bought. It doesn't help us, and it doesn't help the seller. Truthfully, we've turned down plenty of sellers. 2-3 years ago, if we had a 2012 Freightliner with 1 million miles on it and they wanted $25,000, we wouldn't even list it, because we'd say, Mr. Jones, you can buy that same truck on Facebook for $13,500. But there's no way we can get it for $25,000. But I'll pay the fee. I'll pay you your $249 inspection fee. But that doesn't help us, because even if it's inspected and it's perfect and it's $10,000 more than we know what it's ever going to bring, right? We won't list it. Now, we might list it a couple grand over what we think it'll do, but we really, 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 really try hard to make sure that every asset we have is dead nuts on the money. So a loss. Here's another reason to sell with us. You get paid, brother, like that. Time we get paid and we receive your title, wire funds instantly into your account. Now, with the yellow iron, what we'll do is we'll let the customer, because there's yellow iron is a whole different animal. So oftentimes the customer will go pick it up and say, yeah, the equipment's exactly what they said it was. No problem. Boom. Pay the man. We'll do it like that. That's why it's so important we have titles and and stuff like that on the big trucks because we can't pay until we get a title. Because the people with the big trucks can't use their big trucks until they get a title. Best practices for selling. Number one, get it on the money. Most important thing. Get it on the money. If you're in Texas and you know what that truck's worth, and I know what that truck's worth, and Jason and Jimmy knows what that truck's worth, and we're all in agreement, and we don't get it sold, we will get our butts on the telephone and start calling those 8,000 people that we have in our database to get that unit sold for you. Because that's our job. We work for you, the seller. Okay? If we've all figured out and put it on the right money, we'll work our tails off to get it done. And there's got to be a reason. Okay? Remember, it stays at your yard, so you're not out anything. But a $99 listing fee or a $249 inspection fee. Either or, so it's no big deal. Oh man, you say, Jim, I got a 2013 Cascadia with 432,000 miles, and I need $32,000 for it. I'm jumping up and down. I'm excited. Yes, this is going to be a great deal for the seller. It's going to be a great deal for the buyer. Everything's wonderful. And then you send me 7 pictures, and it looks like a herd of Wolverines have lived inside of it. It's got 8 bald tires and hasn't been washed in the last 3 years. I can't sell that truck. Right? The $32,000 truck is now a $7,500 truck. So have your unit clean. Okay? Describe it accurately. Describe it accurately. Let's say you're driving the truck and you keep your truck spotless and it's a nice truck. And on the way home last week, it blew the head gasket. Now it still runs, but you took it to the shop. You took it to the shop and they said, Big Jim, you got a nice truck, but it blew the head gasket. All right, we could fix it $5,500. I hate this truck, I'm selling it. So we call Big Jim. Hey, Big Jim, I want to sell this truck, but it's got a blowed head gasket. Boom. We'll sell it. No problem. Blowed head gasket. Truck runs and drives. You need to have the head gasket fixed, is how we'll list it. Okay? Versus truck runs and drives, you don't list it, customer gets there, right, to pick it up, now we got a problem. Because he cranks it up and there's water in the oil. So you got to be 100% transparent. It's the only way we do business. Only way we do business. So the first couple times when we pick up a new seller, we don't send them any money. We don't do anything with them until the customer picks up the truck. Because we're not there, and if we don't send an inspector, we like to believe everybody, but we just got to protect everybody, not just ourselves. We got to protect our buyers. Okay. Other sellers' best practices: get us your assets early. Okay, we have a cutoff date, and we really should follow it. We don't as well as we should, but have your asset to us before the cutoff date. I'll be honest with you. It's Thursday night. I've still got a few assets I'm going to put in here. I got one of my good sellers. Man, I got to put this in. I got to put it. I'm not going to tell him no, although I should, and wait for November. But he's such a good seller, and his stuff is clean and it's nice, and you guys want to buy it, so I'll do it, but it won't do justice. It doesn't do what it should do. So anyway, guys and girls, I would really like to field some questions. I haven't seen any yet. I hope I've done this correctly, because that'd be really bad if I haven't. But that just gives you a little bit about how it works. I guess one of the things I didn't talk about buying that I probably should talk about, we talked about reserves. What do you pay? What do you give? Okay. So I'm going to back up a little bit. I guess I kind of missed this because I got excited. Let's see. I wonder. Anyway. So let's talk about a few kind of sort of how do you buy? How do you buy through an auction? What's the process? So we talked about getting registered to bid with your credit card and all that fun stuff. And then we talked about going and inspecting the vehicle, paying an inspector, calling us. But where's the nuts and bolts? What do you really do? What do you really do to buy a car or a truck? I'm sorry, to buy a truck or an asset or a backhoe or hell, a pallet. If we're selling a pallet, what do? You got to do what? You got to bid. You got to bid. And how do you bid? So there's a couple different ways you can bid. One of the ways that I recommend to a lot of my customers is the set it and forget it option. Let's say that you go to a specific unit. All right. You've always wanted a 2000 Peterbilt. And just like the beautiful one that we have in this auction today, going on right now, you've always wanted that truck and you see it and you want it. And you've got X amount of dollars to spend on it. So you send somebody out to inspect it, right? You call me or Jason, whoever's it is, and we tell you, hey, man, that's a great truck. Don't worry about it. The seller stands behind it. He says it runs and drives. You're not going to have any big, giant mechanical issues to deal with. You should be able to get in it and go hook up to a load. All right. And you're excited. You want that thing. But you work for a living. So you can't be with us Tuesday at 1 p.m. So what would you do? What would you do? Well, I call it the set it and forget it option. The set it and forget it option means you go to that particular asset, that 2000 Peterbilt that you just couldn't wait to purchase. You really, really wanted to buy it. You go in there and you put $40,000. Maximum bid. Click on it. Maximum bid, $40,000. You set it and forget it. You're on the road Tuesday afternoon. You're thinking about it, man. I'm thinking about it. The last time you looked, the bid was at 33.5, and you were the winning bidder. So at 1 o'clock, you're driving your truck. You're all happy in your Volvo VNL. You're going to get a Peterbilt, and you're driving. And everything's going good. You're having a great day. And at 4:30, you get a call from me. And I say, hey, Joe, congratulations. You're the high bidder at 38.8. Man, that's awesome. So you go to the bank, you wire us the money, you get your new truck. Done deal. Well, wait a minute. You bid 40. How come you only had to pay 38? Well, remember, there's an 11% sale fee, so it's 38.8 plus 11%. But the next highest bidder was at 38.5. And Jimmy somehow got on 300, so he said 30. I said 38, right? So he said 33. Everybody gave 38.3. Who's going to give 38.6? I got 38.6. Now 7. Somebody bid 7. Now 7. I got 38.7. Who's going to bid 38.8? 38.8. You bid 38.8, right? That's your bid, Joe, because you were driving down the road and you weren't there. I got 38.8, 38.8, 38. So you need 38.9. Everybody give 38.9. Can I get 38.9? Can I get 38.9? Can I get 39? So 38.8. We don't take your whole bid. If we don't need it, we don't take it. We don't even know what it is. If you put $152,000 in it, we don't know what it is. So there's no way to take a bid higher than what we have on the computer. It just ain't going to happen. So that's how you get your truck bought for 38.8 plus the 11% fee. So now, let's say 4:30 rolls around and you don't hear from us. You're like, oh man, I guess I didn't win my truck. Back in your little Volvo V&L, and you're riding down the road. You're not going to get your Peterbilt. Can't stand it. Next stop. So when you do the set it and forget it, and I think it's a great way to buy a truck. I really, really do. I've stood in the lane and let my ego get the best of me, and I've paid too much money for stuff on occasion because I have an ego, much like a lot of you truck drivers have egos. Used car dealers have egos. Truck dealers have egos. Equipment dealers have egos, right? And a long time ago, I learned to leave my checkbook with my ego at the door. So the one way to set it and forget it is helpful is to just simply makes where you can't screw up. If you only got 40 grand in the bank plus your 11% fee, so 41, so if you got 44.1 is what you're going to pay, put it in there and be done with it. Don't your day over it. You know what I mean? Now, if you're a baller and you like to play, then jump up in there. I'll give you an example. My boy Kenny Lips, when he gets to bidding, he's getting after it. He's going to buy whatever it takes. Let's go, boys. But he's going to be stopped, and he's going to be there at 1 o'clock, and he's going to watch, and he's going to see what they do, and he's going to get trigger happy with that finger. Click, 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 click. He's going to buy everything he possibly can. When he's in there, my buddy Don Baskins, oh, Don, he'll be in here bidding, right? He don't like to lose. So it's okay if you do to set it and forget it, keep you out of trouble. The other thing, put in a bid. Say there's 4 trucks that you want to buy. Click on all 4 of them. Get going. You'll be getting email updates. You'll be getting everything in mail or text. You get emails about where your stuff is. Oh, excuse me, been a long day. So you can be in now and do what's called pre-bidding. Pre-bidding. And all the different platforms may be different. At 2000 Peterbilt, in our website at equipmentlinkauctions.com, maybe at $2,100. In Equipment Facts, it may be at $21,000. In proxy bid, it might be at $23,000. It just doesn't matter. It just depends where the 2 people are that are going at it the hardest, right? So you don't really know. So you have to pay real close attention. So we talked about set it and forget it. We just talked about pre-bids. Put in your pre-bids, right? You can play with that from now until Tuesday, about 12 o'clock. Pre-bidding will stop. You can't put any more bids in. At 1 o'clock, world famous championship auctioneer Jimmy Jackson will come in on the microphone. He'll give you, now it's kind of like being at a brick and mortar sale. It's no longer a timed event. Now it's online and it's live. The only difference is nobody is in front of us. There's no ring man out there. There's no live bidding. There's no live in person raising your hand. It just doesn't happen. So the way that we do this, so what happens, 12 o'clock, all the pre-bidding stops. 1 o'clock sharp, Jimmy Jackson comes on and he'll make the announcements. You'll say, all right, guys, if you're in Equipment Facts, it's a 12.5% fee. If you're on proxy bid, it's a 12% fee. If you're on Equipment Link Auction Group, it's an 11% fee. Don't forget, you're going to have to pay the fee. All right? He'll tell you what happens. You got 7 days or 10 days to pick up your assets before storage charges accrue. All your items, everything you pick up, everything must be paid for within 48 hours from the drop of the hammer. So we end on Tuesday. Everything should be paid for by Friday morning. You got Wednesday and Thursday to pay for it. You'll have an invoice from us Tuesday night. So we went back to registering and calling, right? And when we approve you, we're going to verify your email address and your phone number. So we make sure you get we send the invoice to the right person. Once the hammer is dropped on you, you are the owner. No backing up. I didn't bid. I didn't buy. Yes, you did. It's pretty neat. It's a pretty neat program we got. It tells us where you are and how you bid it and when and how many times you bid on it and this and that. So you'll be an owner. And then you pay us within the 48 hours and we send you an equipment release. So what actually happens? So then Jimmy's going to go to lot number 1. Oh, be lot 100. We start at lot 100. And he'll give you a few more announcements, tell you when the next sale is. You can ask questions. There's a little deal. You can ask a question about something if you want. But he just basically goes over our rules and regulations and he goes right into the sale. And what happens is you'll click to bid. And Jimmy's a really good auctioneer. He slows down. Like if you're at a live sale with Jimmy, he may be 39.2, 39.4, 39.6, 39.8. I mean, he's fast, right? 40 grand, 40,002, 40,003, 40,004, 40,005. And he's calling people out there 43, 44. He'll be jumping around and everything else. In an online situation, okay, it's a little bit slower pace. All right. It's a little bit slower pace. 39.2, able to get 39.2. I got 39.2. Now, can I get 39.4? Can I get 39.4? If he knows you're in Tampa, because you can see where it comes from, let's say Tampa Bay, are you wanting 39.4? Got 39.4. Now 39.6, Wisconsin. 39.6, Wisconsin. 39.7, Minneapolis. 39.7, Minneapolis. Now Tampa, it's your turn. There we go, 40 grand. And so he has a little more fun, and he's got some guys there that are helping him catch the bids, right? But you got to pay attention, and you got to make sure that you're on the right asset, because if you win it, you bought it. So it doesn't really matter if you think you're on the wrong asset or if you didn't mean to buy it. Don't get up and walk away from your computer and let your 3-year-old start banging on the keyboards. That happens. I know it sounds crazy, but that happens, right? I'm going to tell you a secret. iPads and cell phones. I know a lot of you guys like to play on these things. And you're on the truck that you want to buy and you signed in, right? The truck that you want to buy comes in the lane and under the hammer. And the phone's in your pocket, right? And you pull your phone out and you know it's in the right, and you're looking at it, right? And the bid is at 2,100, which you think the next bid's going to be 2,200, right? But remember, there's 3 other places that could be bidding. So Jimmy's at $8,000 before you realize what happened. And you're good to 20 grand. You're going to pay 20 grand. So Jimmy's at 8 grand now, 9 grand now, 10, now 11. And you start hitting your button. And you start hitting your button. And you start hitting your button. And you don't realize your daggone phone timed out. And the next thing you hear, it's 17.5. She's going to Tampa Bay. Sold, sold, sold. Oh, you're going to be mad. Oh, good God in heaven, you're going to be mad. You are going to be one upset person. So be very, very careful with your cell phone. Make sure it's live and on fire and ready to go. If you just pull it out your pocket, it may have timed out, and it protects you from pocket bidding. You know, I've had it happen. There's a lot of you out there, a lot of you seasoned veterans. Y'all know who you are. Jimmy be going once, going twice. Oh, got 40 grand there. Oh, and then 41. I got 40 in a nickel. I got 40 in a nickel. Now 41. I got 40 in a nickel going once, 40 in a nickel going twice. Oh, now there's 41. Well, let's say your internet screws up. 40 in a nickel once, going once, 40 in a nickel twice, going twice. And you hit the button and you go, sold. You're like, ah! You get all upset. I wanted that truck. And then you call Big Jim. Hey, Big Jim, I was bidding. There's nothing I can do about it. So you got to be careful. You got to pay attention to what you're doing. Call us. We'll help you before the auction starts. We don't answer the phones. Time from about 12:30 Monday to from 12:30 Tuesday to probably 5 or 6 o'clock Tuesday night, you're not going to get me on the phone. You're not going to get Jimmy, Jason, Tyler, Maria, Amy. We're calling buyers that have purchases, and we're trying to help them and get everything straightened out. We can't fix anything. You can't call us at 4:30 and say, but I was trying to be it. So familiarize yourself with the system, familiarize yourself with the auction, familiarize yourself with the assets that you're trying to purchase. And as I always like to say, bid high and bid often. And I really thank everybody for coming out tonight. I hope you enjoyed yourselves. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thanks. We'll see you guys Tuesday at 1 o'clock.